The sound of the zipper tearing through the air punctuated the silence, sharp as a gunshot. I froze mid-step, my hand resting on the doorknob, staring at the suitcase at the foot of our bed. Her heels clicked against the hardwood, deliberate, final as she moved to the closet. "I'm leaving tonight," she said, not looking at me, her voice calm, almost rehearsed. "Don't even think about stopping me." Her words didn't just hit. They shattered something inside me. The room smelled faintly of her perfume, the one she wore on nights she'd come home smiling from somewhere I wasn't invited to. For a moment I wanted to laugh, to shake it off as a cruel joke, but the sight of her folding her clothes with meticulous care told me this was no prank. "Wait," I said, voice cracking. What are you talking about?" She didn't meet my eyes. "I'm tired of pretending, of waiting. Don't make this harder than it already is." My heart pounded in my ears. My first thought was denial. She couldn't possibly mean it. We had plans, dinners, anniversaries, a mortgage, a life interwoven with tiny, comforting routines. She couldn't just erase it all overnight. But then I saw the passport sticking out from the suitcase, the neatly folded boarding pass, and the truth slithered in like ice. Where are you going?" I asked, my voice lower now, desperate for rationalization, for anything that would make sense. She finally turned, and in that glance, I recognized the person I had married and yet didn't know at all. Her eyes weren't angry, not exactly. They were resolute, weighted with something I couldn't name. Relief, fear, excitement, or guilt. Maybe all of it. "I'm leaving," she said again. "I've been leaving in my mind for months." The words landed like blows. My stomach tightened and I wanted to vomit. I remembered the small things I had brushed off. The sudden interest in late-night work events, the carefully concealed phone, the distant tone when I asked about her day. I had convinced myself I was imagining it, that I was overreacting. I had told myself love meant trust and love meant patience. You're leaving me?" My voice was hoarse, disbelief mixing with an icy dread. "I never wanted to hurt you," she said slowly, almost regretfully. "But I can't stay here pretending anymore. Not with myself, not with us." I sank onto the bed, staring at the floor, the suitcase looming like a tombstone, the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen, the soft ticking of the wall clock. Every mundane sound felt like a funeral dirge. I had so many questions, but the answers I feared would come in pieces, jagged and brutal. "Is it someone else?" I asked, my voice trembling, hating myself for needing to know. She hesitated, and that pause, longer than a heartbeat, shorter than a lifetime, told me everything. "Yes," she whispered. The room seemed to constrict, the walls closing in. Betrayal isn't loud. It's cold, creeping in like smoke through a cracked door, filling every corner with suffocating weight. My mind raced backward, replaying the months of subtle lies. The late-night texts she hid, the dinners she claimed were with clients, the perfume I hadn't recognized before. Every small deceit now screamed in a chorus I couldn't ignore. "Why?" The word barely left my lips, raw and guttural. "Because I don't know who I am anymore if I stay here," she said, her voice breaking slightly. "I've loved you. Maybe I still do. But it's not enough to keep me here. Not for me. Not for him." I closed my eyes and tried to breathe, tried to make sense of a reality that made no sense. Anger flared, hot and destructive, mingling with grief. I thought of every memory, every shared laugh, every promise. Had it all been a lie? Or had I just been blind? I wanted to scream, to hit, to beg her to stay. I wanted her to make a choice that would erase the pain. But I couldn't move. My body refused. It was as if my mind had hit pause, and the world kept spinning without me. I tried again. "I can fix it. We can work through this. Please just." She shook her head, packing the last of her things into the suitcase. "You can't fix this. I'm not leaving because of you. I'm leaving because of me. Because I can't pretend anymore." Her words stung because they were honest. Brutal honesty is a weapon sharper than betrayal itself. She zipped the suitcase, her movements precise, rehearsed. Then she paused and looked at me one last time, her expression softening just enough to ignite the remnants of love in my chest. "I hope someday you understand." And then she was gone. The door clicked shut behind her, and the sound echoed through the apartment like a verdict. I sat in the quiet, the emptiness pressing against my chest, suffocating. I could smell the faint scent of her perfume lingering in the air, And it made me dizzy, almost ill. I wanted to reach for the phone, call her, demand explanations, but even that felt futile. She had already crossed a line I could never touch again. Hours passed, though I could not measure time. My mind spun through every possibility, every lie, every hint I had ignored. Anger and sorrow battled inside me, each one feeding the other. And amidst it all, a dull, persistent ache settled. A hollow space where trust, love, and security used to reside. Eventually, I stood and went to the window, staring out at the city lights. Life went on outside, indifferent to the collapse of my world inside this apartment. I touched the cold glass, imagining her in a distant hotel room, laughing with someone else, living the life I had thought we were building together. And I understood something terrifying. Betrayal isn't just about being cheated on. It's about realizing the person you loved is a stranger, someone who could exist in parallel to your own life, unknowable and untouchable. It's about staring at your own reflection and wondering how you could have been so blind. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I just stood there, feeling the slow grinding pain of disbelief, heartbreak, and shame. Somewhere deep inside, a part of me clung to hope, irrational and foolish, that she would return, that she would say it was all a mistake. But another louder part whispered that the truth was final, brutal, and irreversible. By the time the apartment fell completely silent, I was alone with the remnants of a love I could no longer recognize. The suitcase remained in the corner, empty of her presence but full of echoes. And in that hollow, suffocating stillness, I understood the ultimate cruelty of betrayal. It doesn't just take someone away. It leaves you stranded in the ruins of your own trust, forced to rebuild a life you no longer know how to live.